From the dawn of humanity, to the empires of tomorrow. This is Timeline Voyage. Around 2000 BCE, the island of Crete became home to the Minoan civilization. At Knossos, vast palaces were built. Their storerooms held oil and wine. Their walls were decorated with colorful frescoes, dolphins swimming, dancers moving, athletes leaping over bulls. Minoan ships dominated the Mediterranean. They carried pottery, olive oil, and wine across the sea, linking Crete with Egypt, Cyprus, and the Levant. But around 1600 BCE, disaster struck. On the island of Thera, today's Santorini, a volcano erupted with colossal force. Ash darkened the sky. Some historians believe this eruption weakened the Minoans, disrupting their trade networks. On the Greek mainland, a new power rose, the Mycenaeans. At Mycenae, behind the Lion Gate, warrior kings ruled from fortified palaces. Their tombs, beehive-shaped tholos structures, were filled with treasures. Golden masks covered the faces of their dead kings. Mycenaean scribes wrote in Linear B, the earliest known form of Greek. Clay tablets recorded taxes, grain, armor, and even the number of chariots ready for war. At Pylos, one of their great centers, the last records mention coastwatchers on alert for danger. Soon after, the palace was destroyed. The Hittites of Anatolia wrote of a western kingdom they called Ahiua, almost certainly the Achaeans, the Mycenaeans. They also mentioned a city called Wilusa, likely Troy. Centuries later, these conflicts inspired Homer's epics. But in this age, they were not legends. They were real struggles for power and trade in the Aegean. South of Egypt lay Nubia, a land rich in gold, cattle, and archers. Around 2000 BCE, the kingdom of Kerma thrived. Its rulers built massive mud brick temples called difufas. Trade flowed north, ivory, ebony, and incense moved along the Nile. Egypt, desperate to control these resources, built forts along the frontier. Nubian archers became famous. They were deadly accurate and feared in battle. Yet Nubia was never just Egypt's shadow. Its culture blended desert and river. Later, as the kingdom of Kush, Nubians built pyramids of their own and even ruled as pharaohs in Egypt. Nubia was both a prize and a rival, a mirror reflecting Egypt's power back at it. Far to the north, across the Eurasian steppe, new peoples forged a weapon that changed history. Around 2000 BCE, the Sintashta and Andronovo cultures built light, fast chariots with spoked wheels. They buried warriors alongside horses and weapons, proof of the bond between rider and steed. The horse transformed warfare. Distance shrank. Speed became a weapon. Armies that once marched on foot now rolled forward in thunder. From the steppe, this knowledge spread. By 1500 BCE, Egyptians, Hittites, and Mycenaeans all fought with chariots. The steppe had given the world a revolution. While the old world traded bronze and fought wars, other civilizations rose far away. In Mesoamerica, villagers cultivated maize. By 1400 BCE, the Olmecs built ceremonial platforms and carved colossal stone heads. They engineered drainage canals and traded jade, obsidian, and shells across their networks. In the Andes, people herded llamas, grew potatoes, and built agricultural terraces carved into mountain slopes. Along the Pacific, fishermen hauled nets full of anchovies and sardines, feeding entire valleys. Meanwhile, the Lapita sailors of the Pacific began their voyages in outrigger canoes. Guided by stars and ocean swells, they spread into the Pacific. By 1200 BCE, they reached the islands that would one day be Tonga and Samoa. In Australia, Aboriginal traditions stretched back tens of thousands of years. Songlines mapped the land, carrying knowledge older than bronze itself. Different continents, different paths, but the same human drive to build, to explore, to connect. In Mesopotamia, the Sumerian cities of Ur and Uruk faded, but their culture lived on. Around 1792 BCE, Hammurabi rose as king of Babylon. He expanded the city with armies, but his greatest weapon was law. On a black basalt stele, he inscribed nearly 300 laws, covering debts, property, and crime. For the first time, law was carved in stone for all to see, not just whispered in palaces. Hammurabi declared the laws came from Shamash, the sun god of justice. Farther north, the Assyrians were still merchants. At Kultepe in Anatolia, thousands of clay tablets record their trade in silver, tin, and textiles. One letter reads, "The caravan has not returned. I fear the goods are lost. Pay your debt at once, or I will take your house." Centuries later, the merchants of Ashur became warriors, building iron weapons and siege engines. Between Babylon and Assyria lay Mitanni, a kingdom that balanced the powers of the region for 2 centuries before being swallowed by Hittites and Assyrians alike. In Anatolia, the Hittites built their capital at Hattusa. The city's walls stretched for kilometers, guarded by gates carved with lions and kings. Inside, palaces and temples honored dozens of gods. The Hittites called themselves the people of 1,000 gods. Every conquered city added new deities, storm gods, river spirits, sun goddesses, all absorbed into their empire. This made it easier to rule diverse peoples. Your god lives on, under Hittite protection. The Hittites were also skilled diplomats. In the archives of Hattusa, letters survive between kings, "To my brother, the great king of Egypt. May our friendship last for eternity." These were the first steps in international diplomacy. Their laws were less harsh than Hammurabi's. Often, silver fines replaced violence. And in their forges, they worked with iron, rare at first, but a glimpse of the future. Meanwhile, Egypt entered its new kingdom, the Golden Age of the Pharaohs. Around 1470 BCE, Hatshepsut became pharaoh. She wore the false beard of kingship and ruled for decades, sending expeditions to Punt that brought back gold, ivory, and exotic animals. Later, Thutmose III, called the Napoleon of Egypt, led 17 campaigns into Canaan and Syria. At Megiddo, he besieged the city until it surrendered. Tribute poured into Egypt, cedar from Lebanon, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, and gold from Nubia. Then came Ramses II, Ramses the Great. He reigned for 66 years, filling Egypt with monuments. At Abu Simbel, colossal statues of the king gaze out across the desert. Twice each year, the rising sun shines into the temple, illuminating the gods within. In 1274 BCE, Ramses fought the Hittites at the Battle of Kadesh. With over 5,000 chariots, it was the largest chariot battle in history. Both sides claimed victory, but in truth it was a stalemate. Out of it came the world's first recorded peace treaty. Ramses and Hattusili III swore eternal friendship, sealed by the marriage of Ramses to a Hittite princess. Farther east, the Indus Valley cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro flourished with straight streets, brick houses, and advanced drainage systems. Their carved seals show animals and undeciphered symbols. But around 1700 BCE, rivers shifted. Trade declined. By 1500 BCE, these cities were abandoned. In China, the Shang dynasty rose. Their bronze workers cast magnificent ritual vessels. Kings ruled from walled cities. Priests cracked turtle shells and ox bones, reading the fractures as messages from the ancestors. These oracle bones contain the earliest Chinese writing, characters that still echo in modern script. By the 13th century BCE, the Bronze Age world was tied together by letters, ships, and trade. But beneath the surface, cracks spread. First came the hunger. Drought struck harvests. Granaries stood empty. A single bad season became 2. Prices soared. Families fled their farms. Then came the earthquakes. Walls split. Palaces shook. Temples cracked. In the Aegean, cities crumbled in the night. And then came the invaders. On the horizon, strange ships appeared, the sea peoples. From Ugarit, on the Syrian coast, Desperate letters begged for help, enemy ships are here. They attack our towns. The king is away with the army. Send help quickly. No help came. Ugarit burned. Its libraries were sealed in ash, preserved only because of their destruction. In Anatolia, the proud Hittite capital Hattusa was abandoned. In Greece, Mycenaean palaces collapsed. At Pylos, scribes wrote of coastwatchers, and then the record ends. Linear B disappeared, forgotten for centuries. In Egypt, Ramses III fought wave after wave of raiders at Medinet Habu. His temple walls show battleships locked in combat, archers firing, and foreign warriors falling into the Nile. Egypt survived, but never regained its former strength. In a single century, the system collapsed. Trade routes vanished. Palaces burned. Population scattered. The world of the Bronze Age was dead. But humanity did not vanish. In the ruins, people learned to work a new metal, iron. Stronger, cheaper, and more common than bronze, iron weapons and tools spread quickly. A new era was beginning. Between 2000 and 1200 BCE, humanity built the first truly connected world. Babylon carved laws into stone. Egypt raised temples to the sky. The Hittites signed the first peace treaty. The Mycenaeans sailed the seas. The Indus built cities with wells and drains. The Shang carved questions to the gods on bones. Nubia shone with gold. The steppe thundered with horses. The Olmecs raised colossal heads. The Lapita read the stars and crossed the Pacific. It was a world of ambition. A world of stories. A world of gods and kings. And though much of it fell, its ideas survived: law, writing, diplomacy, religion, and power, threads that still run through our world today. The Bronze Age ended in fire. The Iron Age rose from the ashes. And humanity marched on. This was Timeline Voyage. Charting humanity's epic journey, one chapter at a time. Because to understand the future, we must first travel the past. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed our journey through time, please like the video and subscribe to the channel.